without Manfred Mann even being involved. Happy Tuesday morning, everybody. I was so excited to be out yesterday, and apparently I had all the superfluosity. I think that's the word, superfluosity. And it's really cool getting back to the office, getting back on the road, and saying hello to people again. I really don't. The Olympics are going. Did anyone care about the Olympics when they were kids, and then you get older and it's like, who cares? I've kind of gotten to that point. Like, I see, when I was a kid, I remember, and maybe it's because it was every 4 years, Winter and Summer Olympics. And now it's every other year, winter, summer, alternating. Maybe that just throws me off a little bit. I don't know. But the Olympics just aren't as big a deal. Maybe it's the professional athletes in the Olympics. Hockey season's off. The Super Bowl's over with. So now all the Bills fans and the Cowboys, like Bills fans are almost in that Cowboys fans category. Except the Cowboys have actually won stuff in the past. It's like two fan bases that are, we are great until we're not. That being said, I'm a Packers fan, so I can only say so much. But hockey season, my Oilers, they're in second place out there. Hey, good morning. We all made it, right? And I'm trying to figure out, is this going to be the year where the Oilers finally break through and win the cup again? It's been since Gretzky that Messier. Gretzky was gone. Messier won the last cup. He was captain. And I never did like Mark Messier, to be honest. But 3 years in a row in the finals, maybe. And if the Oilers make it to the finals 3 years in a row and lose 3 years in a row, does that put me in the same category as Buffalo Bills and Dallas Cowboys fans? Just curious. I don't know. But I've said it before. This is why I want Alberta as the 51st state. Because I know that the NHL does not want another Canadian team not called the Montreal Canadiens to ever win a cup again. I know this. They haven't put it in writing, but it just works out that way. Calgary was up there a little bit ago. Ottawa had a chance. This is 20 years ago. But all of these teams out of Canada, and good teams, and for some odd reason, even the Buffalo Sabres count to me as a Canadian-ish team. It's like, and they got robbed by the Dallas Stars. The Buffalo Sabres got robbed by the Dallas. I'm going all the way back to Mike Modano and Dominic Hasek. Bills may be the Cowboys and the Canadiens are very similar because, let's be real, to people who aren't mainstream fans of hockey, you should kind of know the Canadiens. And if you're not a mainstream fan of the NFL, you should kind of know the Cowboys. Just like if you're not a mainstream fan of baseball, you should still know the Yankees. But the Yankees, I mean, yeah, they've had a problem in the last couple of years, but the Yankees they have moments of dominance. Canadians haven't had dominance in 15 years. Cowboys haven't had, dominance in the NFL is different. Because in the NFL, dominance really only lasts 2 years. Like things like what the Patriots are doing, what the Chiefs just finished doing, that was rare. I love hockey. I do love hockey. And when you bring out some of the old names in hockey, it's kind of like bringing out some of the old names in baseball to me. Because I like old school competitiveness where you kind of understood that that guy on the other side doesn't like you. And whatever happens, it's not personal. We're just trying to win a ball game or a hockey match. But and it's funny because a lot of us older folks, are kind of okay with what some of the younger folks see as excessive violence in sports. If we know hockey, and the Penguins are back. Apparently they're having a pretty good season so far. But if you know the Penguins, then you know way back in the 90s when Lemieux and Yager were running amok all over the league, they had the Samuelson. They weren't brothers, but they were Samuelsons as their defense. Shell and Ulf Samuelson. And Ulf Samuelson was like 6'7". He was a big boy. He was kind of Dino Charo sized. Ty Domi. This guy's about my size. I think he's like 5'10", 5'9", but he's kind of built like a spark plug, maybe 215. And Ty Domi was a fighter. And what was it? The Maple Leafs and the Penguins are playing at the Igloo. And of course, back then, you know the Penguins were giving the Leafs the business. Ty Domi had had enough. And there's a breakaway going the other way. And you could see Ty Domi looking around, checking out the referees, shakes off his glove, and it was a Super Nintendo punch-out uppercut because he's that short on Ulf Samuels. Yes, Ty was a beast, and that uppercut, and Samuelson was down, and he was out for a good month. And the only reason Ulf Samuelson came back as soon as he did was because his wife was like, "Get up. I'm tired of you sitting in the house looking defeated. Get up, go back out there and make money." As most good women would do. Get up, do what you're supposed to do. But nowadays, shoot, a person would get suspended from the league indefinitely for that. Ty Domi, I don't know. I don't think he would have made it in today's game. I know, who was that big black dude that played for the Penguins? George Laraque. He couldn't, because he was barely a hockey player. He was a boxer who could skate. And his job was to go beat up people. Because that's hockey. That's how you could have little guys playing hockey, because the big guys knew if you gave the little guy too much of the business, another big guy was going to come and take care of you. Violence. It used to be in baseball. You get a guy that's just, you can't get him out. You just can't get him out. Why waste it? Just beat him, nail him. You get the other team disrespecting you, stealing bases when they're up by 15 or something silly like that. 95 to the dome, and it's understood. There was a game a couple of years last year. I missed the physical. Yes, the physical. As a matter of fact, a lot of folks talking about this Super Bowl. And a lot of folks said that the Super Bowl was disappointing. I disagree. I thought it was a defensive game that got away from the Patriots because they could not run the ball. Now, that being said, when we talk about physicality, this entire playoff run on both sides, am I the only one that noticed these boys were hitting? Maybe it's because of the colder weather. Colder weather always makes it seem like the hitting is harder. But they were just hitting. Maybe that's why the Chiefs and the Ravens couldn't hang this year. Because let's be real, as much as the Ravens run the ball, they're not a smash mouth team like they used to be. And Kansas City, they're not a smash mouth team. Those teams that made it this year are mostly smash mouth teams. I was happy about that. Yes, the defense, I said the same thing. And that cornerback for the Patriots, number 0, Christian Gonzalez, I said it. If the Patriots would have found a way to win that game, Christian Gonzalez would have been your MVP. Yes, the running back for the Seahawks had a day. That Seahawks defense, it was video game level. I mean, you couldn't get through it. But that one player, number 0, Christian Gonzalez, if he did not play the way he played, it would have been the Bears Patriots, that 55-10 debacle. So I like the defense. I think it was clear by midway through the second quarter that the Patriots were simply outmatched. They were out physical. But I mean, it's not like the Patriots defense was bad. The Patriots defense, they did their work. But when your offense can't get a first down, you're going to get exhausted. So, and I think Chris Collinsworth did make mention of that. Standout player. I think in hockey, a losing team has had an MVP of the series. Has there ever been a losing team in the Super Bowl that had an MVP? And let's be real, the Patriots got beat so badly, no matter how well Gonzalez played, he could not have gotten MVP. But that young man put up together an MVP for performance. And I hope that in the midst of everything that, even in the fourth quarter, he was making plays. When the Patriots were clearly defeated, he was still making plays. That he was there. I don't know. But, some of us show up when the game matters. And so now I'm a Packers fan, raised in Maryland. I'm old enough to have remembered when the Colts left. And it is for that reason that, good morning, it is for that reason that I have a dislike for the Colts. I have a lot of dislike for the Colts. But I like the Ravens' style, but I'm not really with the Ravens. But I like their style. Ravens' style is very Steelers-ish. Hit first, score later. And try to hit the defense, run the ball. So, shoot, where was I going with that? There was a point. What time does this start? Well, okay, so the routine here, 8 o'clock when I start running to the office is when I turn this on. And the reason for that is because it's when the kids get off. I drop the kids off at the school and I start trekking down to the office. Now, over the last couple of weeks, between Elsa getting mad, Anna found her, so they and Olaf and that other dude, that lumber, they're good now. So apparently Elsa's going back home. Everyone's going to be okay. But between the 2-hour delays and just the snow and everything, I couldn't be consistent. And I mentioned before, the whole gist of this is I drive by myself a lot. And I talk to myself a lot. My therapist says it's okay. I don't have a therapist. I probably need one. But that's kind of what this is. This car is my studio. I swear to you, I put about 30,000 miles on this channel. That's how much I'm in, and it's only been since May. I looked it up. Apparently, I started this back in May. And that's it. And like I said, I started it because I don't talk. Music is great therapy, and as a matter of fact, I tried to do this, but just the way the sound is, it was too empty. For those of us who have the time, the lady's name is Nancy Tucker. The name of the song is Everything Reminds Me of My Therapist. This is an old Dr. Demento-ish song, and it is hilarious, and sometimes it's true. And just a spoiler here. So one of the lines, she says, my therapist, my childhood reminds me of my therapist. And then she'll say, my therapist reminds me of my childhood. Pause. Thanks a lot. But no, that's one that I tried to get on here, and the play action offense. And I kind of peek in here because I am driving, so I can't just sit there and read. I'm a Penn Stater. I've mentioned this about 7 million times. Penn State quarterbacks will get you to a Super Bowl. All the way back to Jeff Hostetler. Who was the kid? There was another one that was. But Penn State quarterbacks are solid. Not outstanding. Solid. Kerry Collins. Quite frankly, Wally Richardson, if he would have stood a chance, was a ideal physically NFL quarterback. But I am a fan of the running game and the play action. I don't like the quarterback being purposefully put in harm's way. I like your quarterback to be a point guard, distribute the ball. I mean, yeah, you got the guys that can run, even the Tim Tebows, who I thought got hosed in Denver. But I don't like the quarterback being a main focal point of your running attack. I just think that leads to inconsistency, because even if he doesn't get hurt, that arm, you got to protect it. We'll talk about LSU. But does Joe Burrow count as an LSU quarterback? Just the LSU people out there, does Joe Burrow count? But so when we talk about the play action game, think about Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, because when we go through the draft, we look at the Lamar Jacksons, we look at the Josh Allens, we look at all these super athlete quarterbacks. But who wins Super Bowls? Mahomes was he top 3? I don't think he was a top 3 draft pick. Pocket quarterback. You look at Sam Darnold, and it took him years to find a coaching staff. It wasn't him. It took him years to find a coaching staff. But what did he do? Stood in that pocket. Escaped a little bit, but he stood tall in the pocket. Go back to Ben Roethlisberger. Stood tall in the pocket. Steve Young, who is a bum. Steve Young is an absolute bum. He is the Mike Mussina of the NFL. He does not deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. He is a West Coast offense product. But Steve Young, when he finally got his Super Bowl, not as a backup, they finally got him to stay in the pocket. Yes, he still ran on occasion. You'll be the perfect, I have to get close. I can't see it. The perfect season is all I say. But Josh Allen is not a quarterback. And this is the thing. So way back in the day, when that class with Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, I think they were the same class, but all these boys came out. And this talk was that Lamar Jackson was nothing more than a running back who could throw. Repertoire to make him a legit quarterback. Why? Because quarterbacks don't run. Quarterbacks don't run. Quarterbacks distribute. I'm trying to think here. Because Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, we all know that Trent Dilfer was a Super Bowl winning quarterback and was almost a Super Bowl attending quarterback with the Bucs before he got to the Ravens. Super Bowl winning quarterbacks don't run. That King that replaced Dilfer in Buffalo, I forget his first name, black quarterback, but he didn't run. Running quarterbacks don't win you championships. They just look good. Hashtag Cam Newton. We can go all day on Cam Newton. Just Cam Newton will forever be. All of my Carolinian folks out there, prepare for this, because I have opinions on specifically North Carolina, specifically the Triangle/Piedmont. I've learned the apps are different, but the Flatlanders in North, I'm sorry, I don't dig the attitude there. But when Cam Newton got drafted by the Panthers, there were people, Chris Berman, who said this, that Cam Newton is perfect for the Carolinas because he looks good, but he won't give you anything. And that is, look good, no product. There's construction going on here. Hold on, because the way this road goes, it's very windy. And when I see construction signs, I have blind areas. And so I can't necessarily see what's around the bend. Literally blind. 70 miles an hour with a blind turn. I'm glad the NFL season is over. I was satisfied with it. As a casual fan, Because I am a casual fan. I'm that guy that sits on the couch on Sunday evening and talks about all the things that I could have told you about had they had me on the sideline. But I don't really know. I just want to see the Packers win. That's it. My ideal Super Bowl is Packers-Ravens. That's it. Although, when you're in the NFL as a fan and as a player, the season is now so stretched out that Super Bowl, and we're already on the 26th season, right? I am seriously trying to figure out the Cleveland Browns, that rookie offense. I don't care if it's Shador or Dylan Gabriel. The pieces around them are really good. I really don't know how good a coach Kevin Stefanski is. I mean, he got another job. But the Cleveland Browns really should go on another Baker roll. They should, look, Harbaugh's gone. Tomlin's gone. Now, that doesn't mean the best coaches are out. That means the most consistent coaches are out. The most respected coaches, arguably in the AFC, outside of Andy Reid, are now gone. If we have any Ohio's, too much yapping, I know. It's what I do, man. It's what I do. But here's what we're yapping on. If you're from the state of Ohio, if you are a northeastern Ohio person, Erie, PA, Ontario, whatever, is it finally time to take this seriously and think, Browns, this should be your moment. Your next 4 years should be ridiculous. Your defense should remain stable. Your offense really should explode. You've got the pieces. Need the coaching. I am from Asia. Well, when you say you're from Asia, the question is what part? Because I don't know if we're talking like Japan, China, Korea, Thailand, or if we're talking about like India or whatever. But the Super Bowl is kind of, and I say that because I'm one of those folks, look, I'm old. I am 50, almost 53. I'm almost 53 years old, peoples. And when I was a kid, we spoke about people differently. When I was a kid, there was no African American. You were just black. You're just black. There was no Caucasian. You're just white. There was no, the Hispanics always kind of differentiated. But when we talk about Asians, the whole concept, and look, this is going to upset some folks by modern standards. But when I was a kid, what we casually call Asians are Orientals. That's what it was. And because Asians, to me, I mean, that includes Kazakhstan. That includes Eastern Russia. That includes India. I don't know what Asia really means, you know? But we try how to, we try to, as we get older, we evolve, they say. And we don't want to just say nasty things. But Asian is a difficult term to me. Because I still instinctively come out with the O word that I heard now was offensive. I don't know. But Orient originally meant any place east of Rome. I didn't know that. So by that definition, Orient and Asia would be synonymous. So I guess it's all the same. And that's what I like. I like learning things. Because it's a funny thing. Older folks out there would know this. You spend most of your 20s and your 30s thinking you have all the ideas and all the knowledge. By the time you're in your mid-40s, you're just like, I don't know anything. It's like, I'm just happy if I can make myself a ham sandwich. Unless you're Jewish or Muslim, then I don't know what kind of sandwich you prefer. Maybe turkey. What is the... Really? Okay, I'm glad this is happening. All right, I'm an American. I don't know if that's obvious. And from the American side of the world, the Super Bowl, like, everybody knows what the Super Bowl is. There's a running joke in the U.S. that the loser of the Super Bowl, in this case the New England Patriots, you will see charitable situations on the other side of the world with people like New England Patriots 2025 Super Bowl champions, because it's just such a big deal that they can just distribute the merch and for the losing team. So there really is a perception over here that American style football is worldwide universal. Americans really need to understand. I do agree with you on that. And I am guilty of that because I'm a baseball guy. And for the life of me, I just can't. I appreciate the athleticism of soccer, but no. Just no. But, I mean, do you know that in the NFL, the National Football League, what brings us the Super Bowl, they have, I think, 17 games scheduled internationally. So there are already NFL games in Europe. There are occasional NFL games in Mexico, South America. My understanding is the NFL will go to Australia, which I think is completely unfair to the players. I think all the overseas is unfair to the players. So we have, this is cool because we have people from around the world here. Outside of the US, does anyone care about the NFL? Because we are told in the United States that the National Football League is growing by leaps and bounds worldwide. And one of my biggest things, and if you follow politics, you understand this. One of my biggest things with the American media is I'm kind of tired of the propaganda and the lying. And that's on a lot of different fronts. A lot of our news media is cheerleading, not fact-finding and all of that. So they tell us that the NFL is growing. There have always been the occasional Australian in the NFL. There has always been Canadians in the NFL. Recently, there's been an influx of Hispanics, and when I say Hispanics, I don't mean Americans of Hispanic who derive from, I mean like actual people from like Mexico, Dominican, and things like that. So, and I think there's a Korean kicker, like from Korea, a kicker. But yeah, worldwide, and I talk to people from all over the world. They hate football. I have heard that myself. The NBA and soccer are really the world sports. I would love to think that baseball is right there with it. But I truly believe that once you get out of the Western Hemisphere, baseball is pretty much Japan, Korea, and a part of Australia. Is that not true? Japan, Korea, parts of Australia. This is actually good. I saw cricket. My freshman year at Penn State, I had a roommate. His name was Munish Puri. Munish was from India, like from India. And as a baseball guy, I showed up to the dorm with my glove, my bat, and all that stuff, just always ready to throw and hit. And Munish taught me the concept of bowling in cricket. and of how you hit. And I will tell you, it's hard. And it's kind of like when someone comes to you from a fast pitch, like a real fast pitch softball perspective, that hitting is hard. So hitting in cricket, and it was only for cricket is a yeah, and in Cary, North Carolina, there is, I don't know if it's India mostly, but there is an Asian an India / Pakistani population there in Cary, North Carolina. And cricket is, they have pitches out there. And in North Carolina, you can find a recreational cricket league. Rugby, love rugby. And I love rugby as someone who doesn't know much about it. But that woman that just retired from New Zealand, and if you know anything about any rugby, you know that woman. I don't know her name. She has dark hair, lighter than olive skin, and she is a beast. She's retired from rugby. She should go into pro wrestling. She is just a beast. And this is, all right, I'm in the shade here. I can do this here. I'm not surprised about Baltimore County. If you don't know, I was raised in Anne Arundel County. That's why I don't go back to Maryland. But yeah, I don't go back. I was raised in Maryland. If I don't have to go to Maryland, I don't go to Maryland. But Baltimore County, as a matter of fact, when you get on 695 and you go on the 83, so you're not going down into the city to go on the JFX. You're going 695, you're getting on 83 to go towards York, Pennsylvania. There is a park that is, you can see it on the left, but you got to get off on the local road there. But that park has standing seam double lock panels on the little roofs out there. I did them. The thing that sucks about playing baseball when you're younger, when you get together and you want to go out and play a baseball game with your friends, that is true. And that is why baseball is a nerd sport. I don't care what anyone says. You could be as big and beefy as you want to be. Baseball is a nerd sport because it requires obsession. Baseball sport where if you don't want it, you're not going to get it. You can't just be an athlete and play baseball. You have to study. Now I'm a catcher. Every country does have their own sports identity, and that's what makes it more fun. But I'm a catcher, right? So even at age 52, I do my squats, I do my butt shifts, I do my it's just kind of positioning. It's just routine. You have to have an obsession. Pooh, good morning. We talk about auto racing. I lived in Edders, Pennsylvania, North York County, and there is a local racing scene there, but local auto racing, that's about as American as it can be. Whose car has this guy just stolen? Did I miss something? But we talk about baseball. I'm a baseball lifer. 17 years. I think once it gets in you, it doesn't go away. It just doesn't. But like I said, in order to be even halfway good at baseball, you have to be obsessed. I don't think you can say the same for basketball. I don't think you need to be obsessive in order to get better at basketball. Oh, a car thief? Nah, it's possible. I guess if I went a couple of months without paying my note, I'd be a car thief. But nah, a little old for that. But I glossed right over your comment. I missed it though. So you'll have to excuse me. It is possible that I did in fact gloss right over a comment. Because think about this. Think about it. So you're driving. You have your wife in the car. You have your kids in the back. So this is kind of similar. Oh, or you called me a car thief? I didn't gloss over it. I just kind of, I don't know what to do with it. I'm not like I'm not the guy that shoots off the hip and is funny and all that stuff. I don't know what to do with that. I mean, if calling you a car thief because of my skin color, maybe. Depending on where you are. Like if I were to tell you that I was broadcasting from Durham, North Carolina, as a darker complexioned human, yes, car thief, possibly. In Durham, yeah, possibly. But no. Who is that? Curry Muncher. Okay, Curry Muncher, I have not seen your name before, so let's have a conversation. Because I'm 53 years old and we talked about this before. I'm a Gen Xer, okay? Hello, New Zealand. I was just talking about that beast of a lady rugby player who just retired. But as a Gen Xer, one of the things that was kind of common in Gen X was just ridiculously vicious verbal assaults on your friends, let alone your enemies. I mean, we just, your mama jokes, what, smooth move, X-lax, I mean, just butthead, ass wipe, all the things, and that's just the nice stuff. And so, yeah, it does. It's like water off a duck's behind, man. I'm going through a tunnel. I'm really not heavily concerned. And the thing of the matter is, with Gen Xers, if we didn't like the words that much, we just knock you out. That's it. Just get the fighting. There's no more conversation. That's Gen X. And as a matter of fact, most people, especially males, Gen X males, if you went to your father and said, I don't like what Joey said, what would your father say? My dad would say, it couldn't have been that bad. You're here talking to me about it. Did I mention I was in a tunnel? Big old truck fart in front of me. Oh, that's a truck fart behind me. But, hold on. You're not supposed to change lanes in tunnels, but on I-77, especially in the Big Walker Tunnel, people change lanes like it's legal. I always err on the side of caution, because the truth of the matter is, folks, I'm a scared driver. I don't want problems. But yes, look, all right, I hope somewhere out there is somebody from Southern Maryland. Where am I driving? Oh, Virginia, West Virginia line on I-77. But I hope there's someone in Southern Maryland near Calvert County that knows a kid named, if I'm 53, he's probably in his mid-40s now. His name is Aaron Whitehurst. And Aaron is spelled E-R-O-N. And for a long time, he had a girlfriend that turned fiance. My assumption is they got married. And her name was also Aaron. And his mother called him Aaron Boy and called her Aaron Girl. And we were a two-man metal crew. Wow, Cat Williams, I'm a little taller. But the way we went at each other on a roof, I mean, you would have swore it was Black Panther and a Klansman on there trying to get metal on a roof. How can a scared driver steal a car? Let's investigate. Well, it's real simple. If you have fear, and if you have respect for your fear, then you will do the things that operate in the midst of your fear. When I was in North Carolina last, and this was 2 years ago when I was living in North Carolina, I got hit. 3, neither of which were my fault, in less than a month and a half. And that rattled me. Now, it didn't stop me, This sun's back in my face. It didn't stop me, of course, from driving. But it then, as much as I hate being late, I'm late. And even when doing this, when you're driving, your eyes should be shifting and looking around all the time. And I check this out. I see what folks are saying. Never had an accident of my fault. Never crashed into anything. Never. I don't hit things. Even in my wildest days, if you know, going from Harrisburg to State College, Pennsylvania, when you go through Sevens Mountains, when I was a young idiot driver, I took that about 65 miles an hour in a 1984 Volkswagen Rabbit. I'm not even a real person. I'm getting all the crazy. I don't know what that means. Am I a Fig Newton of your imagination, or am I AI? I'm the AI black guy. You know what? And this is, I have a delay. I know. It happens. I apologize for it. I blame the Russians. I always blame the Russians. But, coming from the Gen X side of the world, you gotta say a lot to me to really get upset, to get me upset. I don't know. I mean, like I said, my fellow Gen Xers, especially males who had, we kind of heard a lot of that. No, I'm in cruise control. Quick to tell you what your problems were. I mean, that's just how fatherhood was. I know. Guys with the little booze like he's driving. I remember Max Headroom. I remember Max Headroom. See, now, one of these days I'm actually going to, and part of the reason why it is delayed and glitchy, I'm in the Appalachians. Literally in the Appalachians. If you can see out the window, well, right now you're looking at the side of a mountain, but the view is gorgeous here in Appalachia. And this is cool because I like talking about Gen X stuff, because millennials, I mean, you guys are okay. You're Gen Zs, and my oldest daughter, I guess, is technically Gen Z, and my younger kids, what are they calling them? Gen Alphas? And I think the Gen Alphas are kind of the full circle. Like, that's that generation's kind of tired of it all, which is kind of what Gen X was, just tired of it all. And yeah, relentless verbally. And like I said, if it really got to be that much of an issue, then we decided to get in a fight. No guns, well, an occasional knife, but for the most part, it was fighting, not shooting and all that. It was just a different time, different mentality, and really a different thickness in the skin. And I miss it, honestly. I mean, all this started with the excessive violence in sports that we really need to bring back. We need to bring back 95 to the dome. Not saying we need to knock people out. There was also Gen Beta? Am I that old that we're getting into Gen Beta? What are the Gen Beta? Like the 0 to 2-year-olds? Do they even have an identity yet? And if we have a Gen Alpha and we have a Gen Beta, and Alpha, you have those kids that are on the cusp, like the kids that are born in like the late 80s, how they're right in the middle between millennials and Gen Xers. So does that make them Alpha Betas, and does that make them nerds? Wasn't that the fraternity and Revenge of the Nerds, the Alpha Betas? Just saying. But we're getting to a point now, I'm about 10-15 minutes from the office, and I have to start getting serious. I don't like getting serious, but I have to. I'd like to thank everybody for showing up. There's a lot of conversation. I've said it before, I did not expect all this, but this is cool. 2025 to 2039. Oh, they predate the generations? Okay, that's cool. So the Gen Beta will be the generation that actually sees Greenland become the 52nd state. Mark that in your history books. Greenland, 52nd. Alberta, 51. But I'm hoping everybody has a really... Don't do the Lamar thing. Don't do it. But look, everybody, it's Tuesday. Have a good day. We'll do this tomorrow. And yes, I will blab, 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 because I have no life. This is, I go to work, I take care of the family, I drive. That's what I do. Happy Tuesday. Creepy hand across the camera.